like a lot of you, I probably have too many books. You know, I never feel like there is a too many books, but apparently there is. So from time to time, I like to do one of these try a chapter videos and make some snap decisions, see if I should keep or unhaul a series. So let's give it a shot. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to be doing a try a chapter here, and I've got 5 books. I have not at this point tried any of them, and the point here is to kind of try them out and just see if it's something that engages me, that I'm interested in keeping, or if it's something that I should unhaul, because I have too many books. And this is a good way to kind of give things a shot without fully jumping in. So what we have today, and these were actually all selected by Andrew of Andrew's Wizardly Reads. He selected these books off my shelf for me to try. So I'll note and add him down there. You can definitely check him out if you're under a rock for some reason and not aware of Andrew. Check there. But we have Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan, which is the first book in the Powder Mage trilogy. Now, I tried his new book, was not really a fan. I've heard mixed things on this one. I think like the sequel series is supposed to be really good, but I've heard mixed things on this one. But it was one that I plan to try. I know this is like flintlock fantasy, and you can see, I mean, the like the rifle and the bayonet on here. But so we have this one, gun, sword, magic together. Supposed to be, you know, that kind of thing, where like the magic has something to do with the gunpowder. That one. So it sounds like an interesting concept. I have not tried a lot of flintlock, and like I said, I didn't care for his new one, so I figure we'll give that one a shot. And then we have The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. In this one, I have a couple of bone-related ones, but I don't know a ton about this one. I actually don't specifically remember when I picked this up. I just remember hearing about it. This is blurbed by Sarah J. Maas, which is a red flag, but I've been told that it's not at all, meaning that it's like her books. So the description of this one: the Emperor's reign has lasted for decades, his mastery of bone shard magic powering the animal-like constructs that maintain law and order. But now his rule is failing, and revolution is sweeping across the Empire's many islands. When the Emperor refuses to recognize his daughter as heir to the throne, she vows to prove her worth by mastering the forbidden art of bone shard magic. Yet such magic carries a deadly cost. So the Emperor uses the magic, but she's not supposed to do it. So maybe it's only the Emperor? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out when we try out the first chapter of that one. Then next, we have The Emperor's Blades by Brian Staveley. So I actually won this trilogy in a contest way long time ago. Meant to read this quite some time ago. From somebody who really enjoys the series. I have since heard almost exclusively negative things about this series, but I still kind of wanted to give it a shot for it as well. And so this, I know, it's the Emperor dies, and then these are like the 3 children, and they all have to... They have to like come together and do something or another. I say I know what it's about, but it's about them. And so it's like all 3 of them, what happens after the Emperor dies, and they go through. So this is a trilogy, and I know there's follow-up books too, and I'm pretty sure I have one of them as well somewhere. I think I have a book that comes after these, because I have a problem with buying series when I haven't even started the first book. But so this is one, yeah, like I said, it seemed interesting. I had the first book actually for a long time, even before I won the whole series. And so it's definitely one that is worth giving a shot to see, because that'll be multiple books if I don't think that's going to be for me. And then the next 2 are, I'm pretty sure I got both on Book Outlet at some point. I also have a problem with Book Outlet, although I've had some stuff work out. It's kind of hit or miss, because I've got a lot of random stuff. But we have this beautiful book, which is A Pawn a Burning Throne by Ashok Banker, the Burnt Empire Saga Book 1. This was absolutely a color buy. It just... cover buy, but I mean, it does have a lot to do with the color palette. It just looks really cool. Now, this is a chonker. And so it's another one of those. I have a lot of not only random books, but books that are huge. And so, but this was covered by, it also has a blurb from Kate Elliott, which is a green flag. And I don't know a ton about this otherwise, so let's read briefly the description here. Welcome to the Burnt Empire. In a world. I'm going to read it like that now, just because it starts with the world. I'm a child, okay? In a world where demigods and demons walk among mortals, the emperor of the vast burnt empire has died, leaving a turbulent realm without an emperor. Two young princes, Audrey and Shvate, Shvate, I don't ruin the voiceover. I don't know how to pronounce that. Are in line to rule, but birthright does not guarantee inheritance. For any successor must sit upon the legendary burning throne and pass the test of fire. Imbued with dark sorceries, the throne is a crucible, one that incinerates the unworthy. Oh, I actually do kind of remember. I would have obviously read the description when I bought this, but yeah, so it's figuring out who's going to be the heir, but the throne might literally kill you if you sit on it and are deemed unworthy. So I wonder maybe the book, if it's about like trying to find out if they're worthy or something like that. So it could be interesting there. And then we have Moontide and Magic Rise by Sean Russell. So this is 2 books, and I'm assuming it's a duology. This also, just the cover it's just like a ship, but like the big moon, the water, I don't know, it's very, very eye-catching and appealing to me, even though it's fairly simple. Shows that you can do a simple cover and still have it look cool. And yeah, so this is a duology. It chronicles the adventures of naturalist Tristram Flattery as he searches for the lost history of magic in a world where reason and science reign. Oh, and that brings back more my memory as well, because that seems like such a cool concept. So it's like it's a world that apparently used to have magic, and now it's all science and reason, but somebody is trying to go out and find magic, and that sounds like a really cool premise. Of this one too. I have not read anything by actually any of these authors besides Brian McClellan. So all things that was interesting to try. New authors, different books in the series. But yeah, this one was a cool premise. The name Tristram Flattery is kind of weird. But so that reminds me of exactly why I bought this. I'm like, that sounds interesting. So we talked about each one of these books a little bit. So here now, going to read the first chapters and then update you on what I think, and we'll go from there. Okay, so Promise of Blood. We start off well because we have not just one map, but 3 different maps, which is cool. But then we get in, and the character's name is Adamat. Kind of weird name. Where's Adamat at? He is, where did it go? Adamat is at, it's like adipose. Now I can't find it. Everything starts with A. Adipest. Adamat's at Adipest. And it's the Adran military. And and then it's everything starts with A here. There's another everything's A. Everything is A. Lord Alman. So everything's A so far. And besides the A things, this is just immediately, I'm not finding myself really liking the writing style very much, and it's just kind of reminding me of his new book, the one with the glass. I can't actually remember what it's called now, that I really didn't like. So I think this is going to be one that's going to move over for now to the unhaul pile. You, of course, and I'll say at the end, can let me know if you think I'm making too rash of a decision, but that one's I'm not feeling bad about moving that over to that one. Up next, let's do Bone Shard Daughter by Andreas Stewart. We are not off to a good start with this video, but point out does have a map, kind of a cool, like, stylized labeled map as well of islands, which is pretty nifty. But so we open this up with Lynn, who is the daughter of the Emperor. And I said in the blurb that she's going to try and learn the forbidden bone shard magic, and is apparently not supposed to, even though she's the daughter of the Emperor. So come to find out, she got amnesia after being sick with a sickness that her adopted brother brought when he was brought to the palace, apparently, and lost some of her memory. So her father doesn't trust her because she doesn't remember her childhood. For some reason, and it's questioning her being the heir, and saying it's going to make her her adopted brother, the heir. And so setting up this kind of like sibling rivalry where they hate each other and the brother's cruel and she's going to prove that she can do it by learning the bone magic that she's also like apparently very uncomfortable with and horrified by, but she's going to learn it anyway, even though she's not supposed to. Seems to not be really comfortable with it to somehow prove she should be the heir. And the bone magic, which I suppose is supposed to be the most interesting thing, just feels too much for me, kind of like Breath from Warbreaker, because it's using bone shards to create constructs that you give simple commands. And apparently you can get a lot more complex, but then you find out all this within the first chapter, by the way, so not like spoiling anything. You find out that the bone shards come from people, like everybody has to give a shard of their bone to be used for the magic, and so it's just like, it kind of reminds me of that, and so the first chapter just, it didn't really do anything. Like the magic, I suppose, is interesting, but it reminded me a lot of other things, and just the kind of the character archetype in that relationship just did not really appeal to me. I just felt really YA to me, and because it's doing things that I associate with YA that I don't like. Not saying all YA is bad, so I'm gonna also move this one over for now into the unhaul pile. We're off to a bad start, and then the next one we have is the Emperor's Blades, which, like I said, I've heard mostly bad things about, but we'll see. This one looks like it has a really long first chapter. Oh no, it's not that long. It just starts after a bed. So, well, does this have a map? I feel like maps are bad luck at this point. Oh, we do have a map. So let's see. Let's give it a shot and see how it goes. It's still not going well. So two things. Immediately, this opens up with some sort of disease called the rot, which was straight flashing me back to the Winnowing Flame trilogy, which I really hated, and so like already off to a bad start there. But I'm like, I'm not gonna try, let that club my vision of this. But I feel like Brian Staveley definitely went to the school of like the overcomplicated, stereotypical fantasy names. The character in the prologue here is Tanis, I assume, because it's got an apostrophe in the middle of it, so that it's not just like Tanis, who is a Cestrium, and they fought wars with Navarium. You gotta have double I's everywhere here too. And then the dialogue here, we have, "Father," Faith pleaded, unable to proceed past that single word. "Daughter," Tanis replied. And things including, "I grew from your seed. You fed me when I was small." What? And then that's the prologue. And chapter 1 is someone who's like a artist monk person and finds an animal that was violently killed. And nothing about this has pulled me in at all whatsoever. It's kind of pretty clunky prologue. So this too, we're gonna move this over. We're gonna move this over to the unhaul pile, and then we're gonna cross all fingers on the last two and see how those turn out. Hopefully better. The first three have gone for this. I don't think I've ever had one. Maybe I have. I don't remember. I don't think I've ever had one where I'm like, none of this. So hopefully the last two. All right. So next up, Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok Banker. Let's check. So far, maps are a bad thing. Oh, we have a Dramatis Personae. No map. It could be a good thing. Now, I like a map as much as the next person, but this is the first one with no map, so maybe it's a good sign. Let's find out. I lied. There totally is a map. I just missed it somehow. This is a fairly simplistic map. It's a map. It's a map, but anyway, let's jump in here. So this one was odd, and I'll note I didn't read the first chapter because the prologue is over 30 pages long and split into 12 parts. And so I was going through the prologue, and it's setting up kind of an interesting world, but the premise seems to be that there's multiple heirs, and opens up there's one heir that's blind and the other that's albino, and the over 1,000 different monarchs that are a part of this empire are all shocked, and then somebody else comes up to give another child to be tested, and they test these children by like magical fire touches them, and then they put them in a throne that will burn them to nothing if they're not worthy, and so they just put the infants to test the fire. And so some of it kind of interesting. It's definitely unique. The writing style here just was really throwing me off. I don't know what tone this is going for. It seems like it's trying to go for like a light comedic tone at points when it doesn't at all match the subject matter. And it's just this one, the prose is really throwing me off. And I don't know how I feel about this. So I think this is going to be one. Has anybody read this? Let me know, because this is. I'm going to move this, over to the unhaul pile, I think, for now, just because I don't know how I feel about this. But there wasn't anything that like turned me on or off from the book itself. Just odd, and I don't know how I feel about this. So not great results so far. So let's see if Sean Russell can pull out a win. I'm hoping this one's not super long. This one definitely has no map. So far, everything with a map, we've had issues. Oh, this is a crazy short chapter, so this should be very quick. Okay, so the first chapter of this book was like 2.5 pages long, and is a duel taking place. Apparently duels had not been common anymore, but there's a duel going on. Gave me absolutely nothing. So I have no idea how this one's going to start off. I could have kept reading, but hey, it is a first chapter challenge, so I took the easy one with a short one. I liked the prose. The writing style of this one was really interesting, but I'm definitely with just the 2.5 pages, like that's not enough for me to get super pulled in or also turned off in any way. So you know what? This one's going to go in the keeping pile right now. This is going to be the lucky one, and then we'll see. I'll give this a try and actually get a little bit further in at some point here with it. But as a first chapter, none of that stood out. Like I said, besides the prose, I enjoyed. I liked the writing style of this one for those first couple of pages. So that's kind of where we are with that one. So there are my snap judgments. Didn't go so great for the first 4 books. Like I said with this whenever I do these videos, I'm obviously making a snap judgment. I'm judging very quickly, so if there are any of these that you're like, oh no, this is actually really good, you should definitely give this one a shot, let me know. I've definitely kept ones that I kind of moved. I'm not getting rid of any of these immediately or anything, so definitely let me know if you think there are any of these that I definitely should give more of a shot to, other than the first chapter and or prologue, for at least one of them. So let me know in the comments your thoughts on any of these, but that's where we've landed for this one. Otherwise, make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the link in the description, as always, for the Wizardly Do a Discord if you want to chat books, whether any of these books, other books, anything at all, really. It's a lot of fun. We'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.